Hi, everyone, and welcome to this very special Lady in White episode of The Wayward Dragon.
Yes.
I just realized something interesting about that.
Huh.
Is the fact that your wedding's tomorrow.
Yeah.
And traditionally brides wear white.
Mm-hmm.
Is that why you picked this topic?
Yeah.
Okay. I literally just put that together as I'm reading and saying it, and I'm just like, wait a minute, there's a connection here.
Yeah, I totally did it on purpose. Totally did it on purpose.
So if you're joining us for the first time, hello and welcome, and I'm sorry in advance.
Yes. Yeah. These are very special episodes.
Yeah.
Because we're actually in the same room.
Right. So this and our next review episode, we're actually in the same place recording.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's, if we sound a little different, if you're a frequent listener, that's why.
Yeah.
Because we live on opposite sides of the country. And
we do. We do, for sure. It sucks sometimes, but it's whatever.
Well, you know, they say if you can see them on a daily basis, is it really your best friend? All the coolest people live at least 100 miles away.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this is true.
Internet friends are the best. And...
Yeah. That's the one thing I've learned throughout my life is no matter how many friends I actually have in real life, the people I have met doing nerdy stuff are better friends sometimes than the people I have in real life.
I think we're the exceptions. We met at work, but...
We did, but we are also big nerds.
That's fair.
Like, huge nerds. And it's so the present my brother got me was a cameo from Billy Boyd for my wedding present, and I'm more excited because I'm like, oh my god, Johnny's gonna love seeing this. My brother's like, you're gonna cry, and I'm like, no, not for the reasons you think.
No, that was awesome.
like that was really cool. If anybody can get a cameo from Billy Boyd, hands down, best experience ever.
Yeah.
Ever. That was awesome. That was truly awesome.
So, Lady in White. That's
yes.
a fun topic. For those of you who have watched Supernatural, or at least the older stuff, there's an episode about a Lady in White. It's one of the first season, isn't it?
Yeah. So while I was pulling up research for this, I kept pulling Supernatural fandom sites. And honestly, their research was the same everywhere else during this. So I was like, oh, okay. Like, your research is actually, on point.
So I'll say this about Supernatural. You know, I'm a huge slut for urban fantasy. I had no problems admitting that.
Yeah.
But they actually did really well. As someone who is a huge, mythology, theology, and theosophy nerd like myself, they did really, really well with a lot of their research. I mean, granted, obviously they took some liberties, but compared to some other urban fantasy series they have out there, they did really well with some of their research.
They're pretty on point.
Yeah.
Everything I was finding on their fandom sites was everything that, if not more information, I got from Wikipedia. Yeah. So I was like, oh, okay, well, then I can use you as a source. But I thought it was fitting with me getting married tomorrow to do the Lady in White, even though I'm not really in white. But
so, fun fact, the lake that I grew up by, because it's, got all sorts of other crazy phenomenon, which actually, they did a movie about the lake that came out, or some of the stuff having to do with the lake, came out, I believe, last weekend. So, I have no association with this, but it's part of around my hometown. I haven't seen it yet, so I'm just gonna plug that you guys should go on Amazon and check out Lanier.
Okay. Oh yeah, I heard that it's Lanier or something that they made a movie about it.
Yeah, so I would suggest checking it out if nothing else, just to kind of raise awareness or look into it yourself of all the weird, crazy shit about the lake. Might actually do an episode on it at some point because that would be fun.
Yeah.
But anyways, yeah. So there's a lady in lake. There's that too. But there's a lady in white story involved with Lake Lanier as well. But there's like all myths, legends, and stuff. Those are you can find them all kinds of interesting places.
Everywhere.
Yes. So tell us a little bit about that.
So obviously she's in some form of white, like wedding gown or like dress of some form. She's more reported in rural areas than obviously a city. I mean, there's still like places and hotels where there's lady in whites, but they're associated with some form of tragedy. So either the whoever wife, bride, she's either portrayed by her soon-to-be husband in some way. He runs away, he has another lover or something, or he dies somehow, and she either commits suicide or something, or it's the husband wanting to divorce her, so she kills the children, and everything. So there's two different types of lady in white. You have the one type of lady in white that goes after men that are betraying their partners, so they go after them to kill them. Or you have lady in white that go after children, and they like kidnap children and kill children. It's two different variations that I found of her. It just depends on the local legend, whether it's what type of loss it is. Because the La Llorona, she's a version that kidnaps children. But you can either, the supernatural episode, one of the very first ones it's Sam driving in a car and he like picks her up. So it's either some form of river that they're by, some form of body of water, or road, and you can either pick them up in your car, or they kind of lure you into the water, and they kind of transform. So at first they're seen as like a very beautiful woman, and as you're in the car with this person, they slowly start to change into a corpse. So that's kind of what happens with Sam in the car.
So apparently that is the first episode.
Yeah. The first ever supernatural episode is a lady.
Episode.
Yeah, is a lady in white. Because then it also happens in like season like 14 or 15.
15.
Yeah.
Back into the future.
Yeah, because they do some weird like back and forth episodes. But basically, she lures men that are betraying their wives, so like cheating, because that's what happened to her, or she kills other children.
Typically, it's because she was hysterical and killed her own children, then killed herself, or something happened to her child and she was distraught and killed herself. Yes.
I found on Wikipedia, it says there's a popular medieval legend that if you saw a lady in white appear in the daytime as well as night, that a family member would die soon. Which was kind of interesting.
I've never heard that one.
I haven't either. I just always thought that they like killed men or children. But the La Llorona,
so like a banshee,
kind of, is I think that's where that comes from, and I think banshees are kind of their own thing. So I didn't loop them in with this. I was like,
that's a Celtic thing, and then the Appalachian thing.
Yeah. So I was like, that deserves its own episode. So I did not stumble upon that. In Mexican folklore, she's La Llorona. So she drowned her kids to be with a man that she loves. in some versions, it's the children's father, but that's only parts of the legend depending on where you're at. But he basically rejects her, possibly for another woman. So then she goes to kill herself after she's killed her children. When she gets to heaven, God asks her, "Where are your children?" And because she doesn't know, she's not permitted to enter heaven until she finds her kids. So she kidnaps children that look like her kids, or kids that disobey their parents, type thing. And then in Brazil, she is called Dama Branca. She is said to be a ghost of a young woman who died of childbirth or violent causes. It's a lady in white of some form. The origins of the myth are not clear. They have a folklore dictionary that proposes that the ghost is related to the violent deaths of young white women who were murdered by their fathers or husbands as an honor killing. The most frequent reasons for these honor killings are adultery, obviously. In Canada, there's a popular legend that claims the surroundings of Mount Ormery Falls near Quebec. It's the spirit of a young Canadian woman whose said-to-be-husband was killed while fighting against the British in the Battle of Beauport. Apparently the young couple would meet at the falls near her house, and when the man didn't come to meet her, she threw herself over the falls. In the Czech Republic, I can't even try to pronounce that. I'm not even going to try. But she apparently married a Bohemian nobleman. She was the daughter of a Bohemian nobleman. She married another nobleman. The marriage was unhappy and not a very good one. And that was because her father was reluctant to pay the agreed dowry. So during her married life, she would write many letters to her father and everybody saying that she was very unhappy and that her husband was treating her very horribly. The legend has it that as her husband was dying, he asked her for her forgiveness of her treatment. She refused, and her husband cursed her. So after her death, she's just remained. In Estonia, Haapsalu Castle is where the local white woman in white, according to that legend, a canon fell in love with her, so she hid in the castle disguised as a choir boy. But she was discovered by the bishop and subsequently immured, so put in a wall of the chapel. To this day, she is said to look out from the baptistry's window and grieve for her beloved man. She can apparently be seen clear on August full night, like the full moon.
I have heard of that one.
Like, I've heard of many different ones. In Germany, there's ones. The Lady in White resides in the resident castles of the Hohenzollern family. According to the legend, the Countess murdered her two children because she believed this could inevitably enable her to marry Albert of Nuremberg, who was married to Sophie instead of her. She became a nun and died at the abbey. And then the other one, said to be a harbor of death and misfortune, was claimed to be seen in 1598, in 1618, 1625, and up until 1940. The castles and the residence of the kings of Persia. So that's kind of interesting. Oh, there's so many legends in Germany. Hungarian mythology, a white lady was the ghost of a girl or young woman who died violently, usually young women who committed suicide or died while being imprisoned. The ghost is usually bound to a specific location. I am not going into Ireland. I'm not going into Japan because they have their own type of... I mean, every place has a different type of folklore, but banshees deserve their own episode. The Netherlands are the same way. These are... Yeah, their ghosts are like banshees. Ooh, the Philippines. Yeah, all these are like... They're not telling me anything. Yeah, they're not... These are not telling me anything.
So the lady in white that's Lake Lanier, there's a couple of different variations of the story, but one of which was that a woman found out that her boyfriend, fiance, was cheating on her with her best friend, and so she drove the car off a bridge with her best friend.
Okay.
And she still haunts the bridge.
Okay, that's a lot of like the legends and stuff that you see is either she kills herself because the person's cheated on her, or she kills the children to get with a man. Yeah,
well, that's the thing with that is that she drowned, but her best friend didn't drown.
Oh.
Yeah. So she's always trying to get back at her best friend and her.
Gotcha. That's okay. That blows.
Yeah.
That sucks. That sucks. Yeah, but I figured Lady in White would be fitting for me getting married tomorrow. Yeah. I figured that'd be an interesting folklore for people. The supernatural episode.
Is it a folklore or is it a warning to Zach to not make you go crazy and murder people?
No.
You're going to drive off a bridge with him in the car?
No. I've actually... One of the first times that him and I were together, I forget what we were doing. What were we doing? When I said that I'm driving and you're in the passenger seat and I'll kill us both.
Oh, shit. We were probably going out for a date somewhere.
Yeah.
And you stuck around.
He did. God love him. So I've already threatened that before. It's like, well, you're in the death seat, so like you'll die before me. like in the car, and he just like looks at me like big old eyeballs, and I'm like trying, and he's still here.
Yeah.
He asked me to marry him. Here we are. Less than 24 hours.
I think it's just him calling your bluff.
Yeah, probably. Maybe. I don't know. Do you want to get in the tarot for this week?
Yeah, let's do that.
So I pulled the 5 of Presents, which is the 5 of Pentacles for my deck. What did you pull?
I pulled the Princess of Swords. Also in the standard deck, it's called the Page of Swords.
Okay. Do you want me to go first, or do you want to go first?
I can go first.
Okay.
So the Princess of Swords or Page of Swords is the childlike essence of our thoughts, beliefs, and exciting, curious minds that is eager to learn. It's want to materialize incredible ideas when she's given the chance to. Still, there's a little room for struggles of ego and any personal stamp left here as she works anonymously for the benefit of the entire mankind.
Okay.
So, in other words, living through our essence and our creativity to be the best, and try to do what's best for mankind, but also ensuring that you're addressing your ego because it is still there, and while you may want to do the best for people, you're not the most important person in the world.
Yeah. So the Five of Pentacles. When we encounter the Five of Pentacles, we encounter a moment of need. Some kind of setback or loss has happened in the material world, and you find yourself in a state of shock and shame, making it difficult for you to even ask for help. This is not just a blow to your resources, but also a blow to your pride, which is perhaps in a state where you're losing hope, which makes it difficult for you to see opportunities that the universe may provide you. Although it may be difficult, you must trust and have faith that this is not permanent. You will find your way. How can you create more positivity in this situation? I can ask for help. The card's lesson. I can ask for help. I can find support if I choose to. So what would you say those mean together?
See, life's screwed up sometimes. Life stuff happens. Things don't always work out the way we plan them to, and you shouldn't take that all on yourself. You should look for a creative solution, but remember you're not alone, and remember that those around you are there to support you, which is, I think, a good thing to think about with stuff I have going on in life, with all sorts of personal stuff with work and everything else.
Yeah.
But also, more importantly, what you've got going on, starting a new chapter in your life tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I just, remember that you've got a partnership there for life, and
oh yeah,
you guys are stuck with each other. So
oh, yeah.
Lean on him as much as he leans on you, and
yeah.
you're, for our listeners, Kelsey's one of the most headstrong people I know.
Mm-hmm.
And like myself, has issues asking for help from others. So, this is kind of both of us, but specifically for you, you're building a future with someone, so you need to make sure you're relying on him as much, and don't give in your ego. Even you have creative thoughts, but that's your support right there.
Oh yeah, I don't think I could have gone through losing my grandma with anybody else. And I tell him that all the time. Like, I don't think I could have gone through losing her with anybody else. Like, just the shock of that with everything that, planning a wedding it's fucking stressful. And the amount that we've had to lean on each other because of family and stuff, it's crazy. But planning a wedding is extremely stressful. It's a whole new chapter. I have to get used to saying my new last name, because I've been my other last name for my whole life, and now I have to figure out how to re-sign my name.
It's gonna be really hard for me not to mispronounce it in a weird way tomorrow. Just so you know.
Well, that's the thing is, I was at Ulta the other day getting face stuff because
stress causes acne.
Well, I'm starting a curly hair journey because of my hair and stuff, and they're like, what name do you want on the rewards program? And I was like, I almost said my old last name. I'm like, I need my new last name. I've been my last name for so long, and
your whole life?
Yeah. Well, and
I've been my whole life.
Well, and everything I've got going on with my grandpa, it kind of it solidifies that break for me. Yeah. Of I'm not your family anymore. Him and I are a family now, and we've been a family.
I mean, they're still technically.
Yeah, but
but yeah, you're starting a new chapter. You're starting a new. Really, it's. I wouldn't say it's starting a new chapter because I hate that whole concept of just closing this chapter and moving to this chapter. But I mean, you kind of are. In a way, and yes. Then in other ways, it's not even a new chapter, it's a whole new book. Yeah. Yeah, because this symbolizes an end for a lot of things for him and I when it comes to family. But it also means that him and I can start planning for the next goal of getting a bigger house and starting our homesteading and stuff like that. And that's the next goal now. This is not big enough for you? I honestly thought your craft room was a lot bigger just from the camera. And when I saw it, I was just like, You know, I know you like Lord of the Rings, but this is like a hobbit hole.
It is. Our house is tiny. It's just big enough for like him and I
It's
and
quaint.
the animals. But it is. But like for what we want to do, it needs to be bigger.
Mm-hmm.
And we don't like living in suburbia. So, yeah. It's nice. But it's not what we want to do. It's not the end goal. And that's the thing is now the next goal is tightening down the budget, making sure that we can get to that next goal of getting a bigger house, getting properties that we can start homesteading.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Oh, my battery's running low. We gotta wrap this up.
Yeah, so, hey guys.
We gotta wrap this up. We gotta start practicing wedding stuff.
Or practicing more wedding stuff and all that.
Yeah.
And make sure that you are liking, rating, reviewing,
Subscribing.
Referring,
Telling a friend, telling your enemies, telling everybody.
Find a lady in white and tell her. She'll be like, no, don't kill me. Go listen to this podcast.
Go listen to this podcast.
Dead people have podcasts, right?
Probably through a medium.
I mean, that's...
Honestly.
When I die, I'm going to find someone that I like the podcast tastes, and I'm going to haunt them just so I can keep listening to podcasts.
There you go. That sounds like a solid plan. Solid plan.
Yeah, so until then, I'm Johnny.
And I'm Kelsey.
Bye.
Bye.